This was my audition for my Hollywood role next. Shout out to Wendy's because I'm going Hollywood.
I actually see that happening someday. I really do. I see that
AKA
happening
Hollywood,
someday.
Coach. Hollywood, but I'm Hollywood though, where it's all good.
Light it.
We got Deuce going a little bit.
I love that music, man. That music gets me going every single Wednesday. We welcome you to the Triple Option presented by Wendy's. Try Wendy's new Saucy Nugs today. Huge guest, guys, on this week's show. The commissioner of the NFL, Roger Goodell, will join us. And before we get underway, I always want to remind you, as always, to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, as well as across social media at 3X Option Show. New episodes drop every Wednesday. Are we ready to go here? Ready to go, Coach? Ready to go, Mark?
Ready to roll?
Let's go. All right, this week we're going to talk about the right and wrong kind of uncles in college football. I know Mark's got a good unk. We see your unk every week on the road with us. Is there a quarterback controversy brewing in Austin at the University of Texas? And is Mark's dog of the week, is it a whimpering pup in the cage like last week, or is it a purebred physical specimen?
Hey, the whimper got me to cash out on the dog of the week. So the whimper might be the recipe. You never know.
All right, so we'll keep him in the cage, pet that little puppy here. But we're going to begin not with a whimpering dog in a cage, but Coach tracking a tiger this week. What was going on with you, Coach, in the New York City area?
Yeah, I was at Liberty National at the Veterans Golf Association. I'm on their board, and the fireman family, the family that started Reebok, Paul Fireman and his son Dan, they're big sponsors of our group, and Tiger Woods was there. And I've known Tiger for a long time, and I just every time I don't get in awe of many people, Mark. I'm in awe of Tiger Woods, man.
Yeah, I was
There
jealous.
was nothing better when that red shirt went on a Sunday, and
Come on.
I got locked in. I mean, my son
Come
and I
on,
watched
man.
it.
You was up there
and,
with Tiger. Did you tell him I said, what's up? Like,
yeah, I said,
you should have
come
told
on
him,
and
you,
be our
you
guest
Tiger
on
Woods,
the
but I know a young
Triple
man
Option.
named Tiger Hoods. You
But you can
Woods,
tell
but
he's
I'm
hurting.
Tiger Hoods.
You can tell he's hurting a little bit, and he had surgery a couple of days after. And I don't know, man. I just, as a fan, I hope he gets to swing that club and somehow raise a trophy one more time. But I'm just a fan. I love competitors. Mark, I'd have to say, Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, I don't know. Are those the most elite competitors in our lifetime?
Yeah, Kobe goes up there too.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yep.
How fun would it be, though, to see Tiger kind of pull off one of these Jack Nicklaus type runs late in his career, and the whole place is just behind him and going, and just to see that smile, that celebration from one of the game's greats.
Well, golf is at its best when Tiger is in the running for a tournament. Everyone's tuned in. Golf is
You talk
at its
about
best with
move
Tiger.
the needle. Move.
Come on.
When sponsorship is, I mean, I lived at Muirfield for 10 years, and we used to talk about that all the time. When he played in the Memorial, boom, the needle moved.
Yep.
The crowds are gigantic. The TV ratings were off the chart. So I hope.
All right, let's pivot to our last couple days with Big Noon Kickoff in Madison, Wisconsin. Our great sponsor, Wendy's. Notice the cup and the plastic footballs over there. They coughed up some coin to put us in one of their ads, guys. And this is Mark leaping into the crowd. And then you were like a stuntman.
You actually really
crashing
did
into
it.
Cardboard boxes and like those gymnastic tumble mats. It was an awesome experience, and we so appreciate Wendy's leaning into us and giving us time to have fun and make a little commercial. That was a cool little spot we did for Saucy Nugs.
Yeah, Wendy's, they just need to cut the budget for the stunt doubles because I am my own stunt double.
You are your own stunt double.
I don't need
You
no
are our
stunt
fall
double.
guy.
Yeah, as long as you got some safety for me to land into, I got the stunt under control, man. This was my audition for my Hollywood role next. Shout out to Wendy's because I'm going Hollywood.
I actually see that
AKA
happening someday. I really do. I see that
AKA
happening someday.
Hollywood, Coach. Hollywood, but I'm Hollywood though, where it's all good.
One of the great things about doing these commercials is watching Coach through the course of these hours upon hours, where he gets to say like maybe 3 words. So, Coach, take us through your line.
Oh my gosh, what was it?
Must be good for the lumbar.
Lower
Yeah,
lumbar.
must be good for the lumbar. Hey, where's the napkins? I think I said.
Yep. Don't forget the napkins.
Yeah, me and
can't wait
Brady were stand-ins. I think that was good though.
You guys were the background. Very important. The background work there. It was
I like
all about
being a
Mark
stand-in.
and a little Maddie. Maddie
It is
Ice
about
over
Mark.
there.
You're right.
It's always about Mark. I'm getting kind of tired of it always being about
What are you
Mark. Whether it's on
talking
a
about?
Podcast, Big Noon Kickoff. You're not a nice person, Mark. You know. You're
What
no
is
fun
up
to
with
be
you
around.
lately, bro?
I'm
You've
kidding.
been like
Hey,
having some
what did you-
animosity towards me lately. Everything
No,
good.
it's because you. It's
we
because
need
you
to
put me
settle
through
something.
that.
I know
put
you
me through that-
box. You want to put up the Dukes, man?
You put me through that NFL running workout on the treadmill in Madison. That was
You weren't
great.
even
And then
breathing hard.
I know, because I'm a soccer guy. Hey, how did we celebrate that run, Mark Ingram?
By jumping in the water, the lake. I don't know what lake that was. What lake was that?
There's a couple lakes around. There was the lake right outside our hotel. Mark, in front of Coach and his wife, dropped to his drawers to go dive in.
Hey man, you had
And the
your
water
shorts
was
on.
cold. The water, that was a Seinfeld moment. The water was cold.
Yeah.
The water was
It
a
was-
little chilly, and we didn't
it
have
was-
no way out. We had to get on the dock and tricep extensions to get out of the water.
I'll
It was
tell
a
you,
little
Madison,
more
Wisconsin
refreshing.
was beautiful. People
Great
treated us
town.
great. How about the Naples restaurant? Naples 15, 20.
Come
Oh,
on, man.
If anybody's
Madison-
ever in the Madison area, that is where you have to go. Look for Sal
Elite,
at Naples
elite.
15.
I had the lobster with the scallops with the linguine, and it was just smacking. It was
Oh, man.
smackable.
They
Oh,
so
my
take care of
goodness.
us there, don't they? Hey, Coach, real quick, while we're talking about Madison, we barely got into it on Big Noon Kickoff, but what did Madison represent to you when you were an opposing football coach?
That was my favorite place in the Big Ten, other than Columbus, obviously. The students, the people, I've just always admired, their friend. Normally when I was a coach at Ohio State, I'd hide. I don't want to disrupt the team because there's some places, man, it's rugged. And so I'd come out right for a kickoff and, right at the end of warm-ups. But in Madison, I'd come out early. And go over the student section. You saw them there. It was great. It's a very unique place that's got an incredible history. Number 2 winning program in the Big Ten since 2000. They're struggling a bit now. I think Coach Vick will get it going. But I mean, elite place. Outstanding.
And we love the jump around in between the
great.
third and the fourth quarter, that fan base, because it wasn't a great day for the Badgers against your Alabama Crimson Tide, but they stuck around to jump, and then they kind of headed
dipped
back to their tailgate
immediately. They left immediately.
They
We
that was
going
all
to drink.
I
We
was like,
going
what
to
happened to
hey,
that whole end zone?
I don't know. They said they was going to KK Club.
Oh, they were going to the college club, spelled with a K. We were there on Thursday night, Mark. You, me, and Matt.
Yeah, went through the little.
And my
we
buddy
went through the
Steve
secret
White, the
entrance.
crazy professor.
We went through the secret entrance.
Coach, all right, I got to tell this story. We Matt had what, the phone number for the manager of
the
the
owner.
college club or whatever it was.
Matt knows the owners only.
Matt, that's a Matt kind of move, right? So Matt, Mark, and I, and my buddy from Colgate, Steve White, the crazy professor, his hair was all over the place, my buddy Weicker. Oh, he's the best. So we get to this, Coach, when I'm saying it's a college bar, it's a college bar. Like, you're looking and you're like, oh man, we're going to be the oldest people in this place by far. And there's a line outside the door. And Mark and Matt are like, we ain't standing in no line to get into this place. So Matt calls the manager. The guy comes on out, and Matt's like, hey, man, is there like another entrance? Is there like a
Just
VIP?
happened to have the number.
Is there like a VIP Heisman winner type entrance? He's like, hey, man, just go down the side of the building. First right, it's kind of an alley. Take a right, and in there, there'll be like a small door, and I'll open it up for you. So, Mark, what do? We walk down.
Turn down the alley, the shiesty alley.
Shiesty alley.
And then we see a small door. I'm like, there's no way that's the door. I
Hey,
keep walking
small
trying
door.
to find a small door. And,
Operative word, small door.
and lo and behold, the small door opens.
Coach, even I had to like shrink to half my height.
You have the
to kind
picture of the door,
crawl
don't you?
inside this door. I do have a picture of the door because Mark and I went by and hit that. Dude, that door was like one of those like 3-inch metal thick doors. It has no reason to be that secure. Yeah, it felt like we were doing some kind of like weird late night delivery. So Madison, props to Madison. All right, time now for Any Given Saturday. We're actually going to talk football. And I think the big question right now, congratulations to Texas. They are the #1 ranked team, jumping over Georgia this week. But the bigger question is, has the Arch Manning era started in Austin? Quinn Ewers was having a Heisman-type start to his campaign, left with that abdominal injury versus UTSA. Arch comes in, and Arch was everything that we thought he would be. 267 total yards, 5 touchdowns. Including his first pass was a touchdown, and I believe it was his the third read of the play. So he's already showing this maturity. He ran it for 53 yards, including that touchdown run of 67 yards. So there's going to be this conversation of, has Arch supplanted Quinn Ewers? Quinn is probably out this Saturday, which would give Arch his first career collegiate start. Now, Coach, Sark's got a lot to deal with, right? They got that win at Michigan the same weekend that Notre Dame had that home loss to Northern Illinois. So immediately that Monday, which was last Monday, Sark is preaching, hey, we got to stay away from the Notre Dame effect. Don't start reading your headlines. Don't be reading the clippings. You know, you're a good team, but things can happen. So he was preaching, beware of the Notre Dame effect.
Yep.
Now he's got this quarterback. I'm not saying, I think maybe it's a quarterback quandary right now, right? Because you've got 2 elite players. And if Arch continues to play at an elite level, what do you do when Quinn comes back and he's ready to go? So how would you be managing things right now before things get ahead of themselves and get over their skis a little bit?
Yeah, I've had a couple well-known situations. I had Tim Tebow and Chris Leak. You know, Chris Leak was the incumbent returning starter, and here comes the superstar that the fans love. I mean, every time Tim Tebow would walk on the field, the place went berserk. And they actually would boo when I put Chris Leak back in. You know, I don't think Texas is there yet, but I understand Arch is the crowd favorite. And,
of course.
And then I also had Cam Newton backing up Tebow. Think about that. I had Joe Burrow backing up Dwayne Haskins. So I've had a couple of them. I think it's all a credit to the Manning family. You know, I would lean on that. Quinn Ewers is your starter, boys. I don't, until he beats him out and doing well against Texas, Texas, San Antonio? That's who they beat, right?
Yep, UTSA.
Yeah, that doesn't
count for you.
That's a warm-up show.
Can't lose a job to injury, Coach.
That's right. Now,
oh, yes, you can. If you're that good, you can lose it to injury. Next up is UL Monroe on Saturday. So another kind of scrimmage type team, right?
Yeah. So Quinn Ewers has beat Alabama at Bama. Quinn Ewers beat the Wolverines badly at Ann Arbor. He's your starting quarterback.
Way to not say the M word,
you got to play him.
Good
I'd
job.
play him.
Arch is about to get much needed reps. He's about to keep balling and shot calling because that's what he is. And he's not the son of Eli and Peyton, as you see on the long TD run. He's Cooper's son. The man can run. And he can pass.
He's the real deal. I think it's going to be an interesting situation.
They're good enough, Rob. He'll play a lot.
Yeah.
They're going to be beating the sauce out of teams this year. That's a great team. So he'll play a lot.
So it's a good problem to have for the Longhorns.
Sure.
I hope it's a good problem for them to have, but it could be it could become a problem. And I don't think it will.
It's always a good problem.
Well, it's better than having no quarterbacks.
Exactly.
I.e. the team in Ann Arbor right now with what they're going through right now. But
let's
talk about.
Bow!
I'm sorry. It's facts. Even the Michigan people understand that. Let's go back to this Texas situation. I find this fascinating. And I don't think it's going to become an issue. And it's only going to become an issue if Quinn Ewers lets it become an issue. I don't believe Arch is going to fall into that because, as we talked in the pre-show, if you will, there's good uncles and there's bad uncles, right? And I've always loved this term, hanging out with the college football guys. We got an uncle. There's always, and I'll let you get into this, Coach, about kind of the odd uncles. But when you're talking good uncles, you're talking Eli Manning, Peyton Manning, good uncles.
Sure.
That's what Arch has right now. He has got an absolute solid head on his shoulders, and he's got DNA, he's got pedigree, and he's got generations of talent in that family who can properly guide him. Not every young student athlete out there, Coach, has that.
Yeah, I call him the third uncle. And the third uncle would be that guy that comes in, Mark, and all of a sudden he's sitting in the meeting with the coach, and you're like, who is this guy? Why is he here? He has an interest, and it's usually him. And I was pretty.
It's a bag.
I was pretty crude about it too. Like, get the hell. What are you doing here? Yeah. And the player would sometimes, well, it's my who. That's your who. Where's your father? Where's family? Because the way God created young people, they're usually a mess. They have to listen. Every young person, in my experience, Mark, and I can't wait to hear your response, listens to someone.
Yes, sir.
17, 18-year-olds are not equipped to make life-changing decisions. So who are they listening to? I got a great story. Marvin Harrison Sr., he was the person that Marvin Harrison Jr. was listening to. There's no one better. It wasn't about NIL. It wasn't about money. It was, what it was about? I remember hearing Heartline tell me a story. It's about becoming the best possible version of yourself. And you work your ass off. Don't worry about that other stuff. It'll come. And I know Mark, your father, senior, and your uncle, Bub, you surround yourself with great people. I've seen the opposite. When you see people that have self-interest as opposed to the interest in the young person, that would drive, of all the things in college sports that drove me insane, that might be one. Because I'm looking at this poor kid thinking, why in the hell are you listening to that person? Because that person is not in it for you.
Right. Well, a lot of these young kids, they listen to someone who has no. So, like you said, Marvin Harrison Sr., he played, he has went through it, he understands the process, the grind. Like, it's not just an overday, it's not an instant gratification. A lot of these parents and a lot of these, or a lot of these guardians want instant gratification, like for money, for whatever it may be. But my father played 10 years, won a Super Bowl, was a first-round draft pick. So when I went to college, I was listening to him. And maybe I wanted to leave. I wanted to transfer. He's like, no, you're going to stay your butt there. You're going to work your butt off, and you're going to get what you deserve. So
every player at some point in their mind says, I got to go.
Exactly. And my freshman year, I said I had to go. And my dad was like, no, you don't got to go. You got to sit there, weather the storm, work your butt off, overcome the adversity, compete, and you'll be better for it. And so when you have the pedigree and someone like Arch has, his uncles, his father, Marvin Harrison Jr. has, Marvin Harrison Sr., a Hall of Fame wide receiver, when you have that pedigree, they understand the process. It's not something that you could just get instant gratification. You can't take any shortcuts. There's no secret recipe. It's hard work, it's dedication, it's commitment, it's overcoming adversity.
I will add this, Mark. When you see a player go through a struggle, I promise you, it's some knucklehead making a decision for that player that had some self-interest, and that drives me and I've talked to other coaches, but it drives you absolutely insane when you see people leave a great situation. You're like, why the hell did you just do that? And Cooper Manning was on our show a couple weeks ago, and I grabbed him, and I know you did too, Mark, and I imagine, Rob, you talked to him, and I just said, man, the decisions that you guys have made so far for this guy has been phenomenal.
Yeah. I told him the same thing, Coach. I was like, I admire what you have done with Arch, how you have handled that whole situation, because he could have been left, and went and started anywhere in the country, but he stayed at Texas. He's staying true to who he is, to his morals, his values. And look, it's going to pay off tenfold because we already see the talent. We already see the potential. And when it's Arch Manning time in Texas, it's going to be the real deal. It's already the real deal in Texas. They're number one in the country, but now they got a future. They got a future beyond Quinn Ewers, and that's what you look for when you're at a great program like Texas.
If any college football player in the country could have left and you wouldn't have given him much grief about it, it would have been Arch Manning.
Facts.
With everything that comes with the name and what his background was, and just to be properly humbled by sitting behind another quarterback and learning. And we're seeing that in the NFL right now, right? We just saw that with Bryce Young in Carolina, that these young men, whether it's on the collegiate level or the NFL level, getting thrown to the proverbial college football NFL wolves early on before they're ready. Arch Manning is ready. Using that time to sit has made him a better player to sit. Tom Brady was going off on that the other day as well.
Excellent. Yep.
Yep, sit and learn and be patient. But that is not the society we live in right now. But congratulations to Texas. Number one, guys, in the AP poll for the first time in 16 years. You know who's not number one? Florida.
Hey, Gators. 16 years?
16 years, man.
So how long ago was that? That's 2014. That's 2000.
I was told there'd be no math involved. 2008, middle of the 2008 season is when Texas was last number one.
Light it.
You've had Wendy's Nugs dipped in sauce, right, Mark? You've had the Wendy Nugs?
I've had
dipped in
them, and I love
All right.
them.
But, Mark, I ask you, have you had them covered in sauce? Wendy's new saucy nugs take the crispy and spicy nugs that I know you love, and you know what they turn them up to? They turn them up to 11, Mark.
Ooh, more than 10.
More than
Choose
10.
between flavors like buffalo, honey barbecue, garlic parm, or if you're a real heat seeker, try spicy ghost pepper. Only on Wendy's signature spicy nugs. I dare you. There's 7 delicious ways to try the nugs you already love.
Are you man enough to try the spicy ghost pepper, by the way? Do you think you could pull that off?
That's not for me. I'm the honey barbecue type guy.
Yeah, I can do the peppers. Pick a flavor, grab some extra napkins, and then go back and get a few more napkins and prepare to nug. Apparently the word nug is a verb now. So Mark, prepare to nug like you've never nugged before for a whole new way to nug. It's got to be Wendy's at participating U.S. Wendy's. Keep on nugging, America.
Nug City.
Are you hiring? What type of position do you need to fill? Well, whether you need to hire a civil engineer in New York, a pediatric nurse in Nebraska, an attorney in Colorado, or I don't know, even a mascot in Michigan, you need ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter finds qualified candidates fast for all kinds of roles. And right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/option. Say your favorite school fired their offensive coordinator in the middle of the season. ZipRecruiter lets you connect with top candidates ASAP. You can use ZipRecruiter's pre-written invite to apply message to personally reach out to some of your favorite candidates and encourage them to apply sooner. From accountant to zoologist, ZipRecruiter makes hiring faster and easier. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. You can try it for free at this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/option. Again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/option. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. Can anybody remember when Florida was last number 1? Coach, you were probably there and involved.
2009.
Your Gators, brother, your Gators are sinking, Coach. Billy Napier getting booed at halftime, getting booed coming off the field, having to deal with questions about his tenure. Is he going to continue? And he basically kind of admitted he would have booed himself coming off the field with another home loss. And then there's the team up north, if you're a Florida Gator, if you will, Florida State, Tallahassee, they fall to Memphis 20-12. They are 0-3. FSU, the first preseason top 10 team to start 0-3 with all 3 losses coming to unranked opponents. So as good as Miami is right now in the Sunshine State, and even maybe give UCF and USF a little love, it is a massive fall from grace for Florida State and for Florida. I'll start with you, Mark. Which program do you think is in more perilous state right now?
I think it would have to be the Gators. I think it's the Gators, although the Noles aren't far behind. But
right.
I love Mike Norvell as a coach. I love Napier as a coach. But when you have the results that you've had and you're getting pressure from boosters, from fans, from students, possibly players too. I've seen a player post some stuff on social like, F this team. Like, you know what I mean? When you have that type of division going on within a program, that is not what you want. So I don't know. They're both down bad right now, and I'm a fan of Mike Norvell because I spent some time with Mike Norvell. I don't know Napier personally, but I feel for both of these coaches, man. I seen a picture of him and his wife hugging on the field. Like you see stuff like that. These are human beings. You know what I mean? This is a coach who doesn't want this to happen for his program. Coach knows better than anyone. The Swamp, they have championship standards. They don't have standards where they're 1-2 losing to unranked teams at home in the Swamp. So I would say that the Florida Gators are probably in a worse state just because maybe they feel more stable with Mike Norvell and Florida State. But
particularly after what they did last season.
Right.
Winning, going undefeated, winning the ACC, but getting bounced from the playoff picture. Coach, your take on what's going on with your former program in Gainesville?
Yeah, I talked to Coach Steve Spurrier last night, and him and Jerry celebrated their 58th anniversary. And
nice.
He's a great friend and a guy I admire so much. We've He's been so good to me over the years, and Shelley and Jerry. And so I talked to him, and he's there. And, and I said something. I said, were you in the game? And he said he left, to beat the traffic, but he said it was bad. And when that momentum is such a fragile thing, you got a really experienced team momentum, you kind of, whether, in-game decisions or program decisions, but momentum has never been more valuable because people want to win and won now and would do anything. You see these buyouts, you're going to talk about them here in a minute, where they just keep firing people because you start to lose momentum. You lose momentum, you lose recruiting. You lose, and then fans and NIL. And I'm getting a little bit stressed out here even thinking about what's happening there because the momentum is gone. It's been gone for a while there. And that's hard to imagine. Mark, you never went to the Swamp, did you? But you played the Gators.
I played the Gators, though, when they were at the
There's
peak.
no better place. There's no better stadium. It's
Great
like
setting.
a freaking
Great
jet
setting.
engine right behind
Fantastic
you when
college town.
when you're cooking. And you got, jobs are based on recruiting, and there's within a 300-mile radius, you don't have to go anywhere else. I was offered the Notre Dame job and the Florida job, and I'm Irish Catholic, and I love Notre Dame. I would go there in a minute. But the reason I took Florida, not many people know this, is because I had young kids at the time. When you recruit for Notre Dame, Mark, you recruit Los Angeles, Phoenix, Dallas, New Jersey, New York, Memphis, and Florida. You know where you recruit? You're Florida?
Florida.
You got a King Air and you got a citation at your disposal. I was home almost every night because you recruit Tampa, you recruit Miami, you recruit Polk County, you go up in Georgia, but you're home. And so Florida's got it all right there.
It's hard for me to see what's happening in Florida because when I was playing in college, they were the best team in the country. They were the standard. They whooped us and caused and triggered our dynasty. That was what motivated us. In 2008, we went there. We played Coach Meyer and his Gators in the SEC Championship. It was 1-2. We lost that game. That motivated us and inspired us for the next year. We went undefeated and won the national championship, and that's essentially what triggered the dynasty that you see today at Alabama. So it's hard for me to see Florida in the position that they're in right now.
It's funny the things that come back to your brain and just like your first memories of somebody or something. And Coach, one of my first memories of you was a classic video clip to Coldplay, I Will Fix You. And it was Urban coming to Gainesville to fix the Florida Gators. And I remember it vividly. It was so great. And all the Gator Nation was behind you and feeling this change of pace. And I guarantee you there's some boosters, there's some alums out there saying, you know what? Let's find Urban Meyer's number and let's get his tail back down to Gainesville. Somebody called you, said, Coach, come fix us again. What would you tell them?
That ship has sailed, Mark. And I want that program to do well so bad. I know so many people there and give a big part of our life to that program. But that ship has sailed, Mark.
All right. We don't want you to go.
People keep trying to take Coach from us, man. And I
am not trying to take Coach. I have fought for years to keep Coach. I lost him once. I'm not going to lose him again. Let's talk about these buyout numbers. Napier, this year, 26M. That's a big number, man.
Buy me out, damn it.
Guys, but yes.
Buy me out, please.
Dude, you can buy me out with a 26T. I don't need a 26M. Next year, it goes down to $19 million. 2026 down to $13 million. If we're talking Tallahassee, Norvell this year, $68 million buyout.
Please buy me out.
Yeah, next year, $59 million. 26, $51 million. These are massive, staggering numbers.
Stoner, put me out of my misery, please.
Everybody, done. I'm done. I'm going to do you a favor. I'm going to cash that check, and I am gone. You will not see me on the triple option. You will not see me on Big Noon Kickoff. You will not see me on World Cup
on my own
I'm
island.
Gone.
That's the Matt Rule program.
Oh, man.
Get that money from Carolina. I think they still paying him 6 figures a month. And he over there undefeated with Nebraska. That's the Matt Rule program.
Can we talk about Nebraska right now? Are they for real? 3-0, guys, for the first time since 2016. And this Matt Rule flipping of programs is crazy. I'm going to throw some numbers at you. This is on the collegiate level. Remember, he started at Temple. Temple's a tough place to win, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Right? If Temple came to you like, hey, Coach, come fix us at Temple. Coach is going to be like, wrong number. Who's this? All right, so Temple, 2-10, right? Year one under Rule, and then 6-6. Right? That's a 6-6, 500 in Philly For Temple, they're building you statues. Then it goes 10-4 and 10-3. Baylor comes calling. Remember when Baylor was just god-awful? 1-11. And then, bam, 7-6. Then 11-3. Goes to the NFL. Maybe it didn't work so great for him there. Nebraska comes calling. Then AD Trev Alberts. What a great signing this was. Matt Rule. And you got to remember these guys, like just because they had one bad year, maybe in another league, doesn't mean they're bad coaches. And maybe they're just better fits on the collegiate level. But Matt Rule comes back to the college game. 5-7 at Nebraska, but you could see things improving dramatically. And here they are, 3-0. Friday night, prime time on Fox, a ranked matchup against Illinois. And coach, it will be the 400th consecutive sellout in Lincoln, dating back to early November 1962. That place loves that program and their football.
Unique place. I think it's the envy of college sports. If you've really studied college sports, 400 straight sellouts, Mark. The entire state migrates to Lincoln, Nebraska. I've been there. I've been a fan. I've been a fan since Tom Osborne changed the game in the 70s. Mark, you weren't around, Mark. But some of us were. You know, they were the first program to really invest in athletes the way that everyone does now. Mark, I'm not sure you knew that. They called it Husker Power. That was back when strength training was really not a thing to do. I remember people telling us don't do it because it's not good for you. And all of a sudden, I remember I started really lifting because of Nebraska, and I would have their pictures all over my bedroom, and we had a little $20 weight room that I put together.
Wait a second.
It was because of Nebraska.
You got pictures of Nebraska weightlifting guys in your bedroom? Man, I had that sounds
bad. That sounds bad.
I had Farrah Fawcett. You got some Nebraska weightlifters up on your wall, Coach. What is going on with you?
The Husker Power. I'll never forget it. And as
Coach
a result,
was vascular, man.
For Christmas, I got a $40 weight set, Mark. Remember those concrete and plastic weights that you put on?
I got you.
I got that because of Husker Power. But the point is this. They just built a brand new Tom Osborne facility. They are nonstop investing in their program and their athletes. You have to admire that. And that's why I'm a huge fan of Nebraska.
I love football and I love the history of football. So I've always, even though I wasn't around in the 70s, I've always heard about Nebraska, the Cornhuskers. And my coach, Coach Burn Burns, who was my running back coach, he played at Nebraska. So I always heard about the history and the rich culture of the Nebraska Cornhuskers. So I think it's better for college football when they're back. And they're 3-0. They in prime time Friday night. Matt Rule got the squad going. Dylan Raiola, Patty Mahomes Jr. in the flesh, doing the whole pregame, get up and all, the haircut, the number, everything. You know, they got the guys flying around on defense, the Cornhuskers. We're going to see what they about on Friday.
Really, really well-coached team. Top 10, number 8 in the country on defense, balanced offense. They got a young freshman quarterback. If you really watch what he's doing, he's completing, I think, 80% of his balls. They're protecting him, Mark. I mean, it's one of the best jobs I've seen protecting a young quarterback. They're not putting him in harm's way. The ball's coming out. They're taking care of him, and they got a nice run game to go with it. And top 8 in the country in defense. So that's a real team. They're not ready to go. They might sneak into a playoff. I don't think they're ready this year, but the future's strong there.
What I admire is what you said, since 400 and something games. So even when they weren't good, they were still selling out. That tells you everything you need to know about the culture of a program.
You know, one time, real fast, Mark, before we move on, is they weren't very good, and we went out there to play. And I asked my guy, my operations guy, I said, "Let's go. I just want to go look around." And so I put a hat and sunglasses on. This is 2 hours before the game, and they kind of drove me around a golf cart. And it wasn't, that's how much I admire Nebraska.
Yeah.
Let me give you a couple little nuggets here about Nebraska as well. They should be, here's the big one, they should be 7-0. They should be 7-0 going into Columbus, Ohio, October 26th. How about that one? Big Noon is already eyeballing that one. I'll give you one other number. Last time, Nebraska hosted a ranked matchup, right? This week, number 22 Nebraska hosting number 24 Illinois. Congrats, Coach Bielema and the Illini. Last time Nebraska hosted a ranked matchup, the year was 2013, and that is your saucy nug of the week. Try some at your nearest Wendy's.
I got the nugs. I got the saucy nugs.
Coming up next, we're joined by the Commissioner of the National Football League, Roger Goodell. Well, as you all know by now, we have teamed up with our great friends at BetMGM this season, and we're going to be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks. We'll also have special offers for our listeners each week. Mark, you're listening, right? You're listening to this?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Pay attention. All right, so if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, we urge you to use the bonus code OPTION or go to betmgm.com/option, and you will get up to $1,500 first bet offer, Mark, on your first wager with BetMGM. We're talking $1,500, Mark.
$1,500. But here's how it works. Download the BetMGM app and sign up using bonus code OPTION. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game. You'll receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure you use bonus code OPTION when you sign up or go to betmgm.com/option.
It's all about the option, Mark.
It's all about the option, especially the triple option.
See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. U.S. promotional offers not available in New York, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467369 New York. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, Arizona. 1-800-327-5050 in Massachusetts. 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. 1-800-981-0023 in Puerto Rico. First bet offer for new customers only. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Huge guest this week on the Triple Option from downtown Manhattan, the Commissioner of the National Football League. Roger Goodell joins us right now. Thank you, Commissioner, for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure.
For the commission.
Good to be with you guys. Thanks,
Commissioner. Good to be with you again. It's been a minute. And by the way, my son, Nate, who you invited on the field after the Green Bay Packers won the Super Bowl, you were holding his hand, walking him on the field. He's now married, and he had a child a week ago. How about that?
Oh, my goodness. Congratulations.
They grow up so fast.
Congratulations, all. Wow. That's amazing, isn't it?
Well, something that connected us years ago, Roger, was our love for the game and then also for life after the game. I remember probably 15 years ago or 12 years ago, I came to see you, and you were good enough to come speak to our team about, fiscal responsibility, about leadership, about life after the game. And now NIL has popped up. And do you think that's a positive for preparing at least, the sting of, that first paycheck when they get in, the kind of, not understanding the value of money? Do you think it's really helped, or I guess it's to be determined if it will help players as they get to the NFL?
Listen, it brings on a lot of responsibility at an earlier age. And I think it probably puts a lot of responsibility on colleges to make sure that kids understand that and they're prepared for that. So it changes the dynamic. Listen, it's deserved. So I understand that aspect of it, but the zeros get pretty big, and the impact when you make bad decisions is pretty significant for a young man and their family. So they need to be prepared for that. And I think the more we can help and support from the colleges to make sure that our transition programs could be applied potentially to them would probably be a good thing. Because it's a big jump to college football, from college football to the NFL. This probably does reduce that a little bit because it's one less adjustment, but it's still a big jump.
Mm-hmm.
Mark could tell you that.
Yeah, for sure. You go from making $0 to making a lot of dollars. The financial literacy is key. So
yes,
no,
I agree with that.
Mr. Commish, player safety is always on the top of the list for you, for everyone at the league. It's something I admire. I appreciate you guys and the constant pursuit of taking care of the players. And especially in the sport as physical as ours, obviously Tua with his concussion, it's been a huge discussion this past week. But the most recent study by the National Federation of State High Schools has over 1 million students participating in high school football. That's the highest number since 2017, 2018. Players, we see them wearing Guardians in training camp, some even in the games now, we're seeing it. How do you feel the league has addressed the safety concerns for the sport as a whole? And what can I do to further progress, the positive look, for parents and children for the youth of our game?
Mark, I think we have to do our thing, and the way we approach that is we look at the data. People are talking about the hip drop, which is extended into college football and impacted college football a lot last year. When you see the kinds of injuries that occur there, they may not be a lot, but they're devastating.
They are.
You need to get them out of the game. Kickoffs is another one. We're modifying our kickoff. It'll be a transition. It'll be a period of time. We'll have to make changes to it, undoubtedly, as time goes on. But as we get data, so we're really focusing on the data. Where are the injuries occurring? What are the techniques that cause those injuries? How do you study those? And then how do you use that in looking at our rules every year? I think we're over 60 rule changes in the last 15 years that have been designed specifically for safety. And have made the game safer, taken those techniques out. So I believe our game is safer. We also look at it how we're training our athletes. It's not the same training camp that you played in.
Right.
The off seasons are different. I think we have 11 practices that you're allowed to have with pads during the season. I would say most teams don't even get to that anymore. Right. So we're learning to train and our players differently. Coaches are adjusting. I think the real trick for us is to share that with every level of football and, frankly, every level of sports. When we develop new helmets, it ought to be available to every level of sports. When we develop new rules, we want to share that. When we look at data that shows how we can address through rules, we share that with every level. And, NCAA reps come to our competition committees every year. And we share that data. We give them every bit of information we have. It's up to them to make those rule changes if they feel it's appropriate. So to me, it's a shared responsibility for the good of the game.
You talk about the helmets. Do you forecast a day where those Guardian caps are basically mandatory in the NFL?
There's a lot of data that shows that a Guardian cap with a what we would call a lower quality helmet is still about as good as wearing the best helmet. So a lot of our players, I think we have 360 players wearing the newer helmets this year. And what we're trying to do is invest in the quality of those helmets. We actually invested in some that are now some of the best helmets. And when I say invest, not that we're holding any equity in it, but that we put seed money towards investing in better helmets. And I think that's showing a lot of promise. So I think the best helmets can be as good as helmets that they might be more comfortable in, that they've worn for many years. But, if they're going to wear the Guardian, that's okay with us if they feel better about it. I don't know if that'll end up being the helmet of choice, if you want to put it that way. I think
that thing is ugly. That thing's ugly, Commissioner. I'm not going to
lie. Well, Mark, that was the first reaction from a lot of guys. And, our point to them was, this is safer for you based on the quality helmets we had then. And it's been about a 20% reduction in concussions. And that's a positive change for us. And that's just concussions. The micro hits, the micro concussions, those are the things that we want to take out of the game. And so all of that, I think, has been a contributing factor. But I believe we're going to have helmets for each position. We already have it for quarterbacks and linemen. And, there are different types of hits that every position takes.
Right.
And you want to have helmets that are built to be able to handle those types of impacts. And so that's where I see the change.
Yeah. I was with you a couple of times at the NFL draft, and it's amazing the couple of fan bases boo you. I felt like you in Ann Arbor last week when the fans are getting me pretty good.
He couldn't even work last week, Commish. So he's trying to get some words out there booing him.
Oh, I know. Man. I felt for you, Coach.
As they say, if your rivals are cheering for you, you must not have a very good record against your rivals. That's what Steve Spurrier used to say.
If they welcomed you in, you'd be in trouble. Yeah.
So the NBA, the hockey, it's Gene Smith and I, the former AD at Ohio State, at one point we had a little conversation. Do you see? I mean, if someone says we know what the college football landscape will look like in 5, 6, 10 years, they probably don't. There's even conversation about breaking away and maybe having a minor league where they don't have to go to class. I can't. It's hard for me to fathom that. What do you have a forecast of the way the relationship between the NFL and college football will continue to grow?
I certainly don't have a forecast on what the landscape is going to be, Coach, but I will tell you this. We're going to be supportive of every level of football. We believe that's one of our roles as the NFL. We've had an unbelievable relationship with college football. As you know, our primary relationship really with the conferences in football. That may not be the case in basketball, where it's probably more directly, I think the NCAA controls the Final Four tournament. But from our standpoint, we believe we should be there to support college football as best we can. We work hard in our scheduling to avoid conflicts. That's a little bit of an issue now with the expanded playoffs. We have one day when we're going to be playing against each other. That's not something we look for, and we look to try to find ways to avoid that. It won't be easy to always do that, but our view of strong college football is good for the overall game of football, and so we'll be supportive of that and try to do everything we can to be consistent with that.
Commissioner, you mentioned that overlap. That's the second day of the first round of the college football playoffs, December 21st. 3 college football playoff games on a Saturday that is, quote unquote, traditionally a college football day, right? But I know you guys.
No, that's traditionally, I take that on. It's traditionally an NFL day. College football is usually done by the second week.
Correct. And you guys have an NFL doubleheader essentially going up against those 3 college football games. So you mentioned that's in your sight. How did you and college football try to work around or try to navigate so it's the best for football as a whole on that day?
Well, it came because they expanded the college football playoffs, which is certainly their right. And we've been scheduled the last several years on playing on that date. We looked at, can we modify the times? Could they modify the time? Can they play on Friday night? They play on Thursday night. Those are all things that, we explored. We just couldn't get around the entire conflict. So, but I think at some point when we all have a little more time to plan, maybe there'll be ways we could do that.
Yeah. Roger, now this is a lighter question. Don't take any, this is just a lighter hearted question. Okay, I'm going to come with you. You want to see what I got for you? Okay.
Watch out, Commissioner.
My Houdat's are balling this year. They off to a hot start. Spanked up on the Cowboys last weekend. Now the narrative around Houdat Nation is that the NFL does not like the Saints. That Roger hates the Saints. So I'm giving you a chance to clear the air. I know that's not the case with you, Roger. You're a good man. A stand-up man. Hey, I'm giving you a chance to clear the air. Do you hate the Saints?
Oh, my
Absolutely not. You know what? Everyone always asks me my favorite team, and I said any one of them. I love them all. And so we want them all. And so I'm always rooting for the team behind. But I think it's great to see the Saints come out of the box the way they're playing. It's nobody ever expected it. And they've had the first 2 wins have been dominant. And so I can't wait to be down there for a game this season. It'll be fun. So.
There you go, Houdat Nation. You heard it from the man himself, man. He supports us. He loves the Saints. He loves the Houdat Nation. So welcome him in NOLA. Give him the NOLA love when he comes down, please.
I'm going to take you with me, Mark.
I got you back.
Man.
I got you back.
They might boo you a little bit. Hey, one of the things we also talked about over the years was it drove me nuts when a player went that was not ready for the NFL. And agents or the third uncle that we talked about earlier in the show would get a hold of this kid and he'd leave and he would survive a year or 2 and then, have to go back and get his degree. The NIL has changed that, I think. A lot of kids are staying now. And have you, obviously it's still fairly early, have you felt that a little bit in the NFL where not as many are leaving early?
Yeah, I mean, we were getting to the point where, our eligibility rules, I think, are really important. We've defended them in court. We believe in it. And it goes to the point we believe in a strong college football system. And we also believe that players are better prepared for the NFL when they do have not just the additional experience in college football, but really exposure to the educational system, which is even more important to get that degree. Or even if you don't get the degree, hopefully to get close enough where you can go back and get it. And a lot of our players do that. I think what the numbers showed, Coach, when you got at the end of your junior year and an option of whether you wanted to apply into the NFL draft, we were getting up about 110, just roughly, that would choose to do that. Since NIL, it's dropped back down into the high 70s. And I think that's a good thing for us because that's indicating kids are staying. They're not making that choice. They're going to say, I'm going to go back and play college football another year. We think that's always great. We'll support that every day. So I'm really proud of our eligibility rules and proud of the fact we want our kids to stay in college football as long as they can and frankly, in the college system.
Commissioner, you mentioned you mainly talk with the conferences on the college football level. Where are some places that you would like to see that bond strengthened, whether it's through communication or scheduling or whatever it is, where the two gigantic sporting forces in this nation can come together to make the sport even stronger?
I think, again, I think our job is to try to make sure every level of sport is healthy. And so sharing of information, sharing of data on injury, sharing information of how we can grow our sport and let more kids participate in it is always a good thing. We're spending an awful lot of time on development of flag football. And I don't think that takes kids away from tackle. In fact, the numbers are showing, as Mark and you mentioned before, the number of kids playing high school football is at an all-time high. We want kids playing at any level. We want them having different entry points. If they want to start with flag football, we have a lot of NFL players today who started playing flag football.
Mm-hmm.
The opportunity for
I
women
have 3 that play NFL flag,
sport.
by the way, Commissioner. So shout
there you
out
go.
to the NFL flag.
I'm glad you're putting the numbers up, Big Mark.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm helping. Hey, I'm trying to help promote the game too. You know what I mean?
But I think the ability for young women to play our game is unbelievable. Yeah. The impact it has on them. The same thing that we would all say about playing the game of football. Now young women are getting the opportunity to say that, and it's the confidence. It's the ability to play a team sport and understand the values of that. I just think if we can do that, that's good for kids. Yes. And so to go back to your question really on that one, Rob, I would say anything we can do to help grow the game, and that's making it safer, getting more kids interested in it, and being able to play the game that we all love and learn the values of it.
Yeah, Commissioner, we talked about the safety, and I know we implemented the new kickoff rule. If I'm in kindergarten, can you explain to the people out there, like they're in kindergarten,
here we go,
the new kickoff rule and how that will in turn result in more returns, but also in safety for the players?
So it already has led to more returns. It probably not as many as we expected, but we always thought we were going to have to toggle with things like are the kicking team and the receiving team 5 yards apart or 10 yards apart? Mm-hmm. Does the ball, if it's down in the end zone or out of the end zone, should it come out to the 30 or the 35? Right now it's the 30. I think if you move that to 35, you get a tremendous increase in the number of returns. Because teams kicking off would say, I think I can stop them from getting to the 35.
Right.
So I think that's a big change that will probably be considered at some point in the future. But the big thing was to sort of see, we've gone from 22% of our kickoffs returned to last weekend, it was about 34. The reality is that's towards the end of the season, that'll be hundreds of additional returns. Good for the game, good for the fans. Our start drive is going from about the 24 to the 29. So it's about a 5-yard difference. So that's great for offense and scoring. So it's had the impact we thought it would have. What we want to do is make sure the injury data. So we're trying, what we've done, Mark, and I'm probably way over the kindergartner head now, so I apologize. But what we look at is the injury rate from a line of scrimmage play. And the kickoff was multiples over that.
Wow.
Because of the speed and the impact. Yeah. So that's really what it was. This new kickoff has taken that speed and impact out because you're 10 yards apart from each other to start.
Okay.
So that's a big change.
Roger, the last few years, and when we used to put those chips on their jerseys to how fast they run, and I did not put 2 and 2 together until a lot of data started coming out, because we would always try to kick that thing on the 1 yard line and just try to smother the guy. After I saw people running 22 miles an hour, hitting things coming at them another 20, that's when I said enough. We start kicking the ball out of the end zone, and I'm glad. I admire that you guys took the, like you said, you probably adapt it, change it, but there's no other play in any sport like that where someone's running 22. Think about that, Mark. 22 miles an hour. Some kids run 21 miles an hour, and then they hit something coming at them. When
I was
it's
back
opened
there
up,
returning
violent.
for the kickoff. I was back there blocking for the returner, so I know. I had to kick out the number 2 guy. He's flying.
And it was violent, man.
Yes,
Violent.
it is.
Mark hit me at 5 miles an hour.
I think we've seen that reduction of impact and the impact it's had on all injuries, not just concussions. And so I think we're onto something here.
I do too.
Again, it'll be adapted, but and I do think, Mark, we brought back the big play. We're already well above our numbers on number of kickoffs beyond 30 yards. We had a kickoff return in the first weekend. I don't think we had them last weekend, but the bottom line on it is, that crease is so you get that crease and you're gone.
Right.
And so I think teams are learning how to play with this. It'll be adjustment from a coaching and a playing level as well as officiating. But I think it's all in a good way.
Just a quick follow-up on that. Now, I'm watching a football game with my wife last night. She's asking me, what is the green box? I don't know how to explain it to her because I'm not even in the league no more. I usually would get that, that information. What is that green box? So I could explain to my wife. Please help me.
I'm laughing because people think the yellow line for the first down is actually on the field.
Right.
That's all digitally inserted.
How does it keep moving?
Exactly. The networks have done that just to show that's the kickoff. That's the zone. So the kickers have to kick it between the goal line and the 20-yard line. And that's if you don't get it in that zone and it goes out of the end zone, it's going to the 30. Yeah. And it goes to 30. If you get in that zone, it's to the 20.
Commissioner, just to pivot back to college football real quick, is there a rivalry game? Is there a stadium out there that you haven't hit that you'd like to take part in?
Yeah, well, Coach was good enough to have me out at Ohio State, so I checked that one off. Unfortunately, I went one time to the team to the north in Michigan, and that was fun. I've been to an LSU game, which was a lot of fun. I have not been to Bama yet, and I'd like to do that.
We got to get you down there. Hey, hit me up, Commish. You need to go to Bama. I got you taken care of.
You'll take me?
I'm going to roll out the red carpet for you.
I'd like to do that. And I've been to USC out at the Coliseum several times when they were playing there. So there's still a lot of schools I'd like to go to besides Bama. I haven't been to a Florida game. So Coach didn't invite me when he was down there. So.
Of course
that was the time to go. It's not the time to go now.
You're welcome to join us any week on Big Noon Kickoff. We'd love to have you on a Saturday. I know your weekends are busy, and we know your weeks are extremely packed as well.
That'd be fun.
Love to have you, Commissioner.
I enjoy college football. I'm watching all day long. I promise you, whether I'm there or not, I'm watching.
We assumed you would.
It's a beautiful Big Noon sport. Fan. We appreciate
so good to see you, Roger.
Thanks,
Commissioner.
Coach.
Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Rob. Mark, thank you, buddy.
Thank you, Roger. Appreciate you.
Light it.
All right, let's take a look at conferences and how they kind of stack up early on in the season. Last week, we mentioned it on the triple option. It was the first time in the 88-year history of rankings that the SEC had 6 of the 7 top teams in the nation. It continues this week. So, top 25 by conference. Just going to spit out some numbers right now. The SEC, shocker, sits alone up top. They have 9 programs in the top 25. As mentioned, 6 of the top 7. After that, Big Ten, 4 inside the top 11. And they've been buoyed by the 2 Pac-12 schools coming in, USC and Oregon. In third place, the Big 12 with 4. The ACC has 1 top 10 team and 3 in the rankings. The MAC has 1, and there's 1 independent being Notre Dame. So, Coach, those are the numbers. When you eyeball the conference kind of food chain right now, is it the SEC and everybody else?
Yeah, I think last year was the Pac-12. I think the Big Ten, obviously, when the Wolverines won it and Ohio State, the upper half of the Big Ten is as good as anywhere. It's the rest of the league that's just okay at times. I worry about the Big Ten when you see Wisconsin, who's historically a top 10, top 15. They got a lot of work to do. You got the Wolverines right now. They're a shell of what they were a year ago. You see Michigan State. When I first went to the Big Ten, Michigan State was a top 10 program. And I think they have an excellent coach. They'll get there eventually, but they should be, and they're not. So right now, I think it's not even close at this point in the season that the SEC is number one. You know, I want to pop back, Mark, if it's okay. And in 2012, I was hired at Ohio State, and now that you look back, and I did notice, the Big Ten was not very good. The Big Ten, you might even say, was bad. You look at the NFL draft back then compared to the SEC, it wasn't close. When the Big Ten teams would go play teams in the SEC, they normally lost in the bowl games. And I remember we went 12-0. We took over a team of 6-7, went 12-0, and we weren't allowed to go bowl game because we were on probation for the previous stuff. And I remember everybody feeling great and saying we should be playing for a national title. You know where I went, Mark? I was invited to broadcast the Notre Dame versus Alabama national championship game. I walk in that stadium and I see Alabama. I watch Notre Dame warm up, and then I see the Tide roll out. I'm watching their coaching. I'm watching the technique of the hands, the way they warm. Everybody does it on the team. And I'm sitting there and I'm getting so pissed off as I'm watching Alabama. And I'm thinking, we're not even close to that. Our coaching's not close to that. Our talent level's not close to that. And I texted every player and every coach for the next 2.5 hours during the game. And I called it the chase. We are now, that season's over. We just went 12-0 in a very average conference. This is not our goal. Our goal is to chase that team right there. And it was the chase. And we put a big sign up in the facility. No one knew what it meant. The media didn't know what it meant. Our players did. And certainly our coaches' staff did. When we recruited a player, I'd ask, I say, would that player be recruited by the best team in the SEC? If not, we're not going to recruit him. We're going to go get the very best players in the country, not in the Big Ten, not in our footprint. If he's the best player in America, I want to go get that player. And
Coach,
that's when we did it.
That's crazy because that's essentially what happened to us when y'all whooped us in Florida. Look at how the tables turned.
Isn't that wild?
Look how we inspire and motivate each other. We've always been intertwined, Coach, and now it's only right that we on the same team.
But the Big Ten changed, and I think Ohio State had a lot to do with that. But then, Penn State really elevated their game recruiting. Obviously, the Wolverines big time did, and that you saw the results last year. So it's changed a lot.
And when did you win the national title over there with Ohio State? Was that
3 years after we said the chase has started? 3 years later, and ironically, who he played in the
man,
playoff.
Relax, man. We don't got to say all that. Who'd you play in the national championship to win? We don't need to know who you played in the semis. You know what I mean?
We got Bama and then we got Oregon.
Yeah, we don't need to know who you played in New Orleans at the Sugar Bowl.
But I think it's important that the target is not, dependent upon your conference. Like right now is the Big 12, ACC, Florida State's down, and I think Clemson's good, but it's not the Clemson it was a few years ago. Right now, the SEC is the dominant.
You know who's not down?
Yeah.
You're
right.
Both U's. Utah and Miami
You're exactly
are
right,
both
Mark.
popping right now. Coach, I love the story, and I'd love for you to share it, that you weren't the only one with the last name Meyer who knew that the Big Ten wasn't quite up to speed at that moment.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the wife of 35 years looked at me after one of our games. Our first game, we played Miami, Ohio.
The MVP Meyer.
And it was, we beat them bad in the second half, but it was awful. And I remember going home, and she said, that's the slowest football game I've watched in years. And I looked at her, I said, no, give us time here. We're gonna get this thing going. But,
that's funny that
SEC
she said that,
can run. And, eventually, to go look at that, we're going to see a team that can run now. And the Buckeyes would be right on top of the SEC too. So
the Buckeyes are one of the best team in the country, regardless of conference. Like, they could go play any conference. But it's funny that Miss Shelley said that because me and my father, we used to watch. I'm from Big Ten country. I grew up in Michigan, so Big Ten is always on the TV. And we'd flip back to CBS, and you could see the difference in the speed. You could see the difference in the physicality. My dad be like, you want to play here or you want to play there? I'd be like,
it was two different games, Mark.
Yes, I want to play there. And so I was never getting recruited there. I had a big senior year. Fortunately, I transferred, had a big senior year. I find that's what essentially helped me get my Alabama offer. And I had to go to the SEC, dog. I had to go to the SEC.
Different world.
I mean, you got to give Big Ten credit now. I mean, they just won last year.
They caught up.
The Wolverines did. They did catch up, but
they did.
The whole conference has got to.
That was back then.
That was
back then. We're talking 10,
You're right.
14, 15 years ago. We're not saying nothing about the Big Ten now because obviously you got elite athletes all over the country, Big 12, Big 10, SEC, but I'm just talking back then, Coach.
Yeah. To the Big Ten's credit, though, the additions of USC and Oregon paying early dividends, at least if you look at the AP rankings, and the SEC schedule is about to pick up. So there's going to be some self-sabotage going on in the SEC.
They're going to ruin each other. What'd you say the good news is, Coach?
Good news is you're the deepest, most talented league in the nation. Bad news is you're the deepest, most talented league in the nation. You're going to kick each other's ass in.
Self-sabotage, and it starts this week.
That's right. Let the cannibalism begin. All right.
Tennessee, Oklahoma is about to start.
Oh, man.
This week is about to start.
We're going to talk about that one in just a second. Pick Six is brought to you by BetMGM. Place your money line, prop, parlay, and same-game parlay bets at BetMGM. Just download the app today. As always, please gamble responsibly. Each week, we're going to pick 6 games against the spread. Mark will pick his deuce dog of the week. So another whimpering pup this week. One of his underdogs will cover. All right. Reminder to everyone listening:
we hit last week, Stoner.
I know you did.
I got
know
with the
you
points.
did.
They almost won outright. But tell me you don't want to win.
You were a reluctant deuce dog of the week. These lines are current as of Tuesday, and as always, can change. We kind of hinted about this first game Friday night. 8 Eastern, live on Fox. Love this. One of 4 ranked matchups in the week. Illinois at Nebraska. Cornhuskers now favored by 9 at home. And we mentioned this is the first ranked matchup in Lincoln, Coach, in 11 years. How do you see it going?
I wish we were there, Mark. This is going to be electric. It's great for the state of Nebraska, but it's also great for the state of Illinois. Coach Bielema is that's a tough-ass coach, man. I've coached against him, got a lot of respect for him. He's at the right place, too. He's going to get an identity there. He already has, because Illinois at one point was horrible. And now look what he's done to that. So they got good players, good balanced team. However, I'm in Nebraska. Dylan Raiola, that's the story right now. It really isn't. The story is that top 10 number ranked defense, a balanced offense, and they're protecting them, a well-coached team. I have Nebraska covering. Think about what they did to Colorado, Mark. They took Shador and they took Travis Hunter. They didn't score a touchdown in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So that defense, I know the story's offense, and I know Dylan Raiola. I'd like to play quarterback in Nebraska with a defense like that.
Tell us why, Coach.
Because they held Colorado to 3 points, and you don't have to be panicky on offense, especially with a young quarterback. So I'm all over Nebraska.
By the way, if Illinois pulls this one off, let's start eyeballing road trips to Champaign because Brett Bielema and that program would deserve it.
And it's a really good team. I watched them today.
Yeah.
That's not because they played bad teams. That's a good team.
Yeah. Happy for him. He's a good dude. All right, let's talk about ACC right now. NC State on the road at number 21, Clemson. This line has changed and it's grown. Clemson favored by 20.5. Why? Here's why. Wolfpack veteran transfer QB Grayson McCall knocked out of last week's game. Head coach Dave Doran said he was, quote, day-to-day. Certainly looks like the true freshman, 6'6" true freshman QB CJ Bailey from the Miami area will get the start. He came in last week in relief of McCall, 13-20, 156 yards, a rushing touchdown, and an interception, but he did lead a comeback victory. They ended up winning by 10. This is crazy. It's been over 2 decades since NC State last won in Death Valley. That streak, it's not going to end Saturday. Tigers going to win, but I don't see them covering the spread. All right, it is welcome to the Big Ten Saturday for number 11 USC Fight On, who are favored by 6 at the defending national champs, Michigan. The Wolverines now at number 18. And Coach, Michigan, they made a quarterback change up there in Ann Arbor.
They did. We kind of thought that might come. Alex Orji, I think, is one of the best athletes on the team. There's a couple of balls he threw already this year that really question if he can throw. I heard Sharon Moore say he can't throw. He has to be able to throw, but he is a
quarterback.
Excellent athlete. However, the coaching hire of the year early in the season is Danton Lynn is at USC. I mean, for 2 years, that defense at USC, they couldn't tackle. When I hate to say it like that, they could not tackle. We witnessed it at the Pac-12 championship game. They're live, and then also last year we just seen them and on videotape. They are excellent tackling. It's still early, but that's the hire of the year. So I have USC covering. I have USC going in there to win. not because of Lincoln Riley's offense. How about this? But because of their defense.
Matt Leinart, our buddy, has been talking about the defense for the last couple of years, and boy, he's strutting around.
It's
Manhattan
a coaching
Beach
hire of the year, Rob. As of where we're at.
Because they can play defense right now. It's what an adjustment. And to get a win. By the way, this is, like a lot of people are upset that the conferences are changing, and I understand it. I'm not trying to be the old guy mowing my lawn in my socks and my sandals again, but the fact that the conference is changing offer up these opportunities like USC at Michigan. If I'm a USC fan and I've been stuck for decades traveling up to Corvallis and Washington and all these other places, and now I'm like, wow, I get to go to Ann Arbor. I get to go to the big house to see my team take on a storied blue blood like Michigan. I'm excited. And that makes me excited about the changes in these conference alignments. All right, after our Big Noon kickoff show, we're going to be in Columbus this week as the Buckeyes, number 3 in the nation, take on Marshall. After that game on Fox, this is a great one, guys. Big 12, maybe early season kind of tell of the tape of where the real leader is in this conference. Number 12, Utah. At number 13, Oklahoma State. The Cowboys favored by 2.5. As we mentioned, these are two of the favorites to win the conference title. Both teams, this is trippy, start seventh-year quarterbacks.
Seventh year?
Seventh-year quarterbacks. Not 4, 5, 6, seventh-year quarterbacks. For Utah, the story has been Cam Rising. Did not play again Saturday. They won 38-21 over Utah State. Remember, he injured his finger or his hand crashing into a water cooler against Baylor a couple weeks ago. Rising and the staff and the players talking like he's ready to go, but they haven't committed yet. I understand it. Like, don't play your hand too much. For the Cowboys, Mike Gundy. We love Mike Gundy, right? He's one of the funniest coaches to listen to right now. He's so chill, so calm. This week, guys, I got a clip for you. In a press conference, he was interrupted by a soda machine that was just kind of off camera that was making some noise. So this is what Coach did.
You go back and...
I mean, y'all can't. There's no way y'all can hear very good. I mean,
it's not easy.
It's like
you hear it humming back there?
there's got to be a.
Coach gets out his tool belt. He's going off camera. We got to sort this out, man. There, get in there, Coach.
Can we get your players on an NIL deal for Pepsi to come up here and live this thing? Well, they make way too much.
Look at Coach. He's sorting out the
Do you
problem.
throw an F-bomb?
No. He's sorting out the problem. Look. He's gonna use his legs, not his back, Mark. And they're gonna move the whole machine so they can unplug it.
That's okay. Fully indoctrinated.
Teamwork.
How does he not have gray hair?
That's good. Okay, so you were talking about their offense with him.
So great. I love that guy. He's like, you know what? It must be the condenser. We're going to go over there. We're going to unplug it so we can carry on with this press conference. So he's in a good place, right? His team, I'm curious where they are, though. They unplugged the soda machine, but can they plug in Doak Walker winner Ollie Gordon the second, Deuce? 3 games for Ollie, 216 yards, 4 scores. Last week, though, 17 carries, just 41 yards. Teams are saying we're not going to lose to Gordon running the ball, so we're going to have your quarterback, Alan Bowman, beat us. And Bowman's putting up numbers, but if you're going head-to-head quarterbacks, if Cam Rising is healthy, I like him, and I think that's why Utah will cover on the road. First SEC game for the Sooners, Mark. Oklahoma at number 15. They welcome 6th-ranked Tennessee, and the Vols favored by 7.5.
On the road, first SEC conference game.
Going to Norman, our friend Coach Stoops will be there.
Coach, and the sabotage begins.
Yes.
A top 15 matchup, and the sabotage begins. But, hey, the Vols are balling. They've outscored opponents 191-13 in the first 3 weeks. It's because of their quarterback. I'm going to try it, Coach. I'm going to try it.
Here we go.
Just say Nico. Just say Nico.
Iamaleava.
Oh, that's good.
I think the boy got it. They balling. He's balling. He hasn't even played in the second half yet.
One more time for good measure, Mark. One more
Nico.
time for good measure.
Nico Iamaleava.
Wow.
That boy knows his pronunciations. And it's because the boy's a straight baller. And they're outgaining opponents by 478 yards per game. Now, they only been Chattanooga, NC State, and Kent State. But now they go to Oklahoma. They go to the Sooners. And the Sooners are still searching for an identity offensively. Their quarterback has been sacked 9 times in 3 games. But their defense is swarming. They forced 10 turnovers in 3 games, Coach, led by their linebacker, Danny Stutzman. Danny Stutzman.
You struggled with Stutzman?
Hey, Danny Stutzman. No, but he's the man. But listen, with this Tennessee offense, the offense of Oklahoma is still struggling a little bit, still trying to find their identity.
Yep.
Their defense is going to keep them in the game, especially at home. But I like Tennessee. I like Tennessee to win this game.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good call. It's going to be a whiteout in Provo, Utah, as number 13 Kansas State. We're talking about these road teams favored by 7, Mark, at BYU. And I've noticed I haven't heard a lot of barking yet.
What's the line here?
That's a really good one.
Well,
7. It's 7 points. That was
We got a
kinda
7
like,
points?
that came from the abdomen. That was like growling. I couldn't tell if you were belching or growling at one point.
Yeah. No, but it's the conference opener for both teams. They're both 3-0. Kansas State has a really talented offenses with one of the exciting players I like to watch in their quarterback, Avery Johnson. Last week, he had 17 carries for 110 yards versus Arizona. But they have a trio of runners who are elite. Johnson, you add both the running backs, DJ Giddens and Dylan Edwards, who was at Colorado last year. We know he's a game breaker. But they're going on the road to a tough place to play in BYU. Then you add the element of the elevation playing in the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? BYU QB, Jake Retzlaff, averaging 280 yards per game. He would have to use his legs. He would have to use his legs against his defense. Their top running backs are out. They were out last week. So we'll see if they're out this week, you know. But they've been struggling with the run game. They got a great wide receiver in Chase Roberts. But this game will come down to quarterback play. And I'm kind of leaning towards Avery Johnson, but I'm kind of leaning towards BYU covering the 7 points. So that is, deuce, dog. Deuce, dog of the week. Coach, you don't like that? You don't like that, Coach?
I love it.
I'm all right with it.
The deuce,
I
dog
love
of the
the-
week.
I just like
covering
the
7
dog
points.
barking. It sounds like it's got like a fragment of a milk bone and some peanut butter stuck in its throat, and it's trying to get it out.
Kansas State at BYU. That's my dog of the week. BYU covering the 7 points at home. They
Love
might
it.
They might be an outright runner.
I hope we
got
someday
covered
make
for
a
sure.
trip to BYU to what's a
That's what I
beautiful
want
place,
to. I
man.
want to hit on. What is that environment like? I know you've been there when you
Oh,
coached for
man.
Utah.
Yeah, I mean it's. I embraced the LDS religion at the Mormon religion when I was at Utah. And well, I'll tell you what, in those 2 games, when those 2 teams used to play, I'd hear stuff that I like. Wait a minute now, that's a beautiful place.
What do you
Provo,
mean? Wait a
Utah,
minute now. What do you mean?
one of the
wait
great
a minute
stadiums.
now.
Oh, I mean, you'd walk in and it's a very
You're
clean
thinking one
environment,
thing.
except
Yeah.
for at that game. And we
And
had
those
some
are-
battles.
And those are grown men going
Oh,
at
yeah.
it as well.
And those big Polynesians, veined up cats that I had at Utah,
vascular
they have them
cats,
at
huh?
they have them at Provo, man. That's a great place.
They have them in spades. That would be a wonderful place for Big Noon Kickoff. Again, this week, we're going to be in Columbus, Ohio. Buckeyes taking on Marshall. If you're in the Columbus area, come on out to the set Friday or Saturday. Flash us the triple option sign. We'll take care of you. You guys good? We ready for another week of college football? Mark, Coach?
Yeah.
Let's roll.
We're going to Columbus.
All right.
What you say,
Let's
Coach?
roll.
Let's roll. What? Oh,
Roll
OH.
Tide. RTR. Give us an OH, Coach.
OH.
IO.
Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, as well as across social media at 3X Option Show. New episodes drop every Wednesday. As always, we want to give huge props, huge love to you for listening and watching, and to our sponsors, Wendy's, BetMGM, and Zip Recruiter. We will talk to you on Saturday on Big Noon Kickoff, and see you and talk to you again next week on The Triple Option. Bark us out, Mark.
Arr, 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 arr.